Hi, this training is called The Psychology of Lead Generation. The Psychology of Lead Generation. So when you hear the words lead and generation, what do you think? What do these words mean to you? They're actually kind of jargon that we use in the marketing industry to describe the process of attracting qualified customers or qualified buyers. A lead, or a hot lead, as some say, is a person who is emotionally at the place where they're ready to buy. They're out looking for solutions. And when we generate leads, or we do lead generation, we're trying to generate or attract as many of these people as we possibly can. And in this training, I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of lead generation. I'm going to talk to you about why it's important to use this approach to marketing when you're trying to build a list and sell information products. And I'm also going to give you a few techniques to accomplish this particular task, hopefully very successfully in your own business. As a model for this particular training, I'd like to suggest a 5-step ladder that a guy named Murray Rayful developed. He wrote a book called Up the Loyalty Ladder. And in this model, he describes how a person moves through the levels of going from what he calls suspect to prospect to customer to client to advocate. And this is essentially a person increasing their quality and their value to your business. A suspect is someone that you don't know whether or not they're interested in purchasing your product or service, right? They're a suspect. A prospect is someone who has expressed interest in some way. They've become a prospective buyer. A customer is someone that makes a purchase. A client is someone that purchases regularly from you. And an advocate is a client who also refers others. So someone that purchases products regularly from your business and then also refers their friends and family and everyone they know. Right? They're an advocate. They kind of have advocacy for you and your product. And when you think about this model, you realize that a suspect is worth much less to your business than a prospect, because a suspect is just anyone. I mean, maybe 1 in 100 suspects might be a good prospect for your business, or 1 in 1,000. So we really want to figure out how to separate the suspects from the prospects so we can get right to the people that are qualified to come to your business and pull out their credit card or their wallet and give you money in exchange for what it is that you're selling. When we generate leads, what we're trying to do is separate the prospects from the suspects. In other words, try to find the people who are better qualified and more motivated, who would actually buy our stuff, so that we're not trying to talk to everybody. A lot of business owners make the mistake of doing broadcast style marketing or branding or name recognition or what they call institutional advertising, where they're broadcasting the same message to everyone. And 99% of the people that are seeing the message aren't good quality prospects or aren't high quality leads, and so they're almost by definition wasting most of their money. Well, direct response marketing has created some really interesting new approaches and philosophies for lead generation and conversion, and we're going to cover those a little bit later in this training. But for now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to start thinking in terms of the loyalty ladder. Suspect, someone who doesn't know you and you don't know them and you don't even know if they'd make a good buyer for your product or service. A prospect, someone who you've identified and who has somehow raised their hand and said, I'm looking for something like this. I'm interested in buying. I'm qualified. And then customer, someone that actually makes a purchase. Client, someone that purchases multiple times. And then advocate, someone who purchases multiple times and then refers others. Right now we're going to stay at the lower levels, but I think that it's helpful to keep this model in mind because you realize that as someone advances and moves up the loyalty ladder, they become worth exponentially more in terms of sales, lifetime value, and profit to your business. And of course, that's why we're trying to separate the prospects from the suspects as quickly as possible. So now let's talk a little bit about the different philosophies of marketing, the different approaches that businesses use to do marketing. Traditionally, there have been a few main channels of marketing that most businesses used. They either did branding or institutional advertising. They did retail, where they just tried to put their products out in a marketplace and hope that enough people walk by. Or they did direct response, where they generated leads and then converted them to customers, converted them to sales. Branding or institutional advertising is when essentially you take your logo and you put it up on a billboard and you just broadcast the name of your business or the name of your service or your name out to the world. Larger businesses use this strategy and often use it to great advantage. So when you see a billboard that says, Coca-Cola, the real thing, and it's got an attractive person drinking a Coke, there's a reason why they're doing it. Okay, and the reason, by the way, is that they've got many, many billions of dollars invested in promoting their brand. Everyone on the planet knows who Coke is, and they're defending their brand. Or if you, drive down the street and you see Starbucks, and it's the big giant Starbucks sign on the store. Same thing. This is a company that has a multi-billion-dollar company. They have a brand that's worth billions of dollars, and they need to protect that brand. They need to get it in front of you as often as possible so that it stays top of mind and you remember it. So branding can be very powerful. The problem with branding is when brand new businesses that haven't spent billions of dollars on their brand and promoting themselves, doing this kind of broadcast approach, these new businesses get into marketing and they say, well, if Starbucks and Coke are doing it, then I should do it. So they put their brand name on everything and they run ads with their brand name and their logo, not realizing that these much bigger companies who are doing brand advertising are using a strategy called protect our brand. Okay? Take something that people already know about and make sure they keep remembering it. They're not playing the game of get the brand name into the mind of the prospect. And when you realize that little trick there, you understand why so many businesses fail in their marketing and why so many businesses waste billions and billions and billions and probably hundreds of billions of dollars a year trying to get their name out there and get their brand into the marketplace. So that's branding. The next strategy is the retail strategy, which is trying to get your product on the shelf at the supermarket or get your product on Amazon.com on the home page featured as one of their main products. In other words, find someone who has a retail outlet or a channel of marketing and merchandising where millions of people come through on a regular basis, and you just piggyback so you're there when all of those people come through. Now, this is a strategy that some people have done very, very well with. For example, if you create a product and then you can get a good deal with a company like Walmart and they can put tens of millions of people in front of your product, you're probably going to sell some of it. And many people have become very wealthy with this strategy. In the Guru Mastermind, we're talking about selling information products, and we're specifically talking about marketing them online. So there are places that you can go and pursue a strategy like this. Companies like ClickBank, who are kind of an aggregator of many different types of information products. You can go and get in their marketplace, and you can recruit affiliates that way. You can get featured in publications that might cover this type of thing. There are a lot of strategies that you can pursue online like this, but what I found is that most of the people I know who have done really, really well selling information products and building successful information product businesses have leaned mostly on the third strategy I mentioned, which is direct response marketing. And the difference in direct response marketing between brand advertising or institutional advertising, getting your name out there, and retail, which is just putting your product on the shelf in front of a million people that are coming through, going to someone else's business. The main difference with direct response is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a lead ourselves. We're trying to go out and attract the lead and then get them to convert. And convert means sign up for our email newsletter list, buy one of our products, that kind of thing. Some kind of action that they're taking to either sign up with us or purchase something. Now, philosophically speaking, and I don't mean to get too abstract or fancy on you here, but philosophically speaking, these three different approaches to marketing, they lead to very different behaviors and very different paradigms or ways of looking at the world. And I personally think that most people who went to college and went to a standard advertising course, or read Cosmopolitan magazine and look at all the ads in there, or watch television, or just shop on Amazon.com, or go to Costco, the average person, they don't learn about direct response advertising. What they do is they learn about brand advertising and they learn about retail advertising. That's the programming that they're getting. So when they go into business, they think, well, I got to get my brand out there, and I got to get my name out there, and if I can, I got to get retail distribution through someone else's stuff. And it completely precludes them or prevents them from thinking about how to generate individual leads and then how to convert those leads, get those leads to buy. I'm not sure if you've heard this story before, but David Ogilvy, the guy that wrote the book Ogilvy on Advertising, which is a very important book, he's one of the greatest brand advertisers in history. A guy that made himself very, very wealthy, built one of the most successful advertising firms in the history of the world, Ogilvy and Mather, and eventually bought himself a castle in France where he retired. And if you read his book, Ogilvy on Advertising, you'll see the picture of his castle, and it's a big castle. It's pretty impressive. An eccentric but very intelligent guy. And as you read through this book, you very quickly realize that, yes, he did a lot of brand advertising. He did a lot of this big institutional stuff, but he learned marketing through doing direct sales, door-to-door sales, and then through doing direct response advertising, direct response print ads and direct mail direct response. And that he took what he learned with the one-on-one interactions with people, and he took what he learned generating leads and getting them to convert, and then he applied that to brand advertising, and he created some amazing and revolutionary techniques. But you'll also see in his book, when you read it, that he believes that direct response is probably the most powerful form of advertising, especially when it comes to a business that's starting out. So as we talk about the psychology of lead generation here, we're starting with the paradigm that there are really three approaches to marketing. And of course there are others, but these are really the three big ones. There's institutional or brand advertising, there's retail kind of marketing and merchandising, and then there's direct response. And when we're talking about generating leads, and we're talking about generating leads and getting the highest conversion, direct response marketing is really the place to start. So let's go back to one of my favorite things to do, which is to imagine being a customer right now. So let's imagine that you're a customer and you're thinking about buying an information product like the one that you are selling. And for the sake of the argument, let's use an easy example here, and let's say it's a product on weight loss. Okay? So let's say this weight loss product is called Super Thin. Okay, that's the name of the brand, and let's say the product itself is a book called Lose 30 Pounds in 90 Days Guaranteed, and the brand that you're using to kind of go around this is called Super Thin. If you were driving down the road and you saw a giant billboard that just said Super Thin, and it was a very fancy logo, how would that hit you? As a customer driving in your car, all it said was Super Thin, and then maybe superthin.com. Well, it probably wouldn't even make sense to you. You wouldn't even know what it meant, right? It's not like Coca-Cola where you have had the beverage before, you've seen it all around you your whole life, that kind of thing. This is a little strange, like, and you probably won't even look at it very long because it won't be a connect for you. Let's say that you're walking through Walmart and you're walking down the book aisle and you see a book that says, from Super Thin, How to Lose 30 Pounds in 90 Days. Is that going to be interesting? Yes, it probably is. Okay, that's probably going to stop you in your tracks and you're going to say, hey, let me go check that out. Not because it's just the Super Thin part, but because it's got that direct response element kind of added into the title of the book. Now let's say you're on the internet and you're surfing around and you decide, you know what, I've got a few extra pounds I need to lose. Let me do a little searching and see if I can find some information. So you type in lose weight fast into Google, and up comes a set of search results. And one of the AdWords search results says, how to get super thin, lose 30 pounds in 90 days guaranteed, click here. How are you going to respond to that? Well, it's going to be a very different emotional and psychological response to the first two. Because with the first two, you weren't looking. You weren't anywhere near being motivated to do this. I mean, maybe you were, but that's not where your mind was at. Those things interrupted you. Seth Godin, who wrote the book Permission Marketing, he calls it interruption marketing, where you're interrupting, you're kind of in their way, driving down the road, billboard, oh, okay, I'm going to interrupt you from whatever you're doing. Walking through Walmart, okay, there's a book here, it's going to interrupt you between point A and point B. Well, in this case, with search marketing, we're using this as a direct response marketing example. And sometimes we use interrupt marketing and direct response. But in this case, the person's actually doing some searching. That's where their mind is at. They come across this ad and they say, what? Wow, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So they click on it and then they come to your website. So in this whole model that we're talking about here of the different types of marketing, the different philosophies, the different mindsets that a customer can be in, I just want you to, really empathize with where the customer is at when they're going through their life and they're going about their business. And I want to ask you, just on an intuitive level, do you think you're more likely to get someone to pull out their credit card and buy your information products when they're driving down the freeway and they see the billboard go by that just says the name of your brand, whether they're walking through a retail outlet and they just happen to stumble across your product, or whether they're on the internet looking around, searching for, doing research, they're already in a place where they're open, receptive, and looking for solutions, and then they come across your offer, right? I think it's obvious, right? When you really think about it from their perspective, you're probably going to do better in this third category that we're talking about, which is perfect because when we're doing direct response advertising, we use the metaphor in a lot of cases of the bait and the pond. So the bait is the thing that you're offering to the prospect to get them to come to your website or to visit you, or in many cases to sign up for your email newsletter. It's the offer that you're putting out there. So as an example, let's say that you had this company called Superthin, and that was the brand name, and you had a book called How to Lose 30 Pounds in 90 Days, guaranteed. And you said, okay, how do I generate leads? Well, you might go out and find a website that's all about health and fitness, and you might create a little banner ad that says, free report, how to lose 10 pounds in 21 days guaranteed, free download. Now just think about the psychology of this for a second, okay? If someone's already on a health and fitness website and then they see that, okay, because they're already interested, they see that link that says free report, how to lose 10 pounds in 21 days guaranteed, free download. The bait there is that free download, that free downloadable report. The pond is that health and fitness website. What a lot of businesses do is they choose a particular piece of bait, like let's say this free downloadable report, how to lose 10 pounds in 21 days guaranteed, and they try it on a health and fitness website and they try it as a banner and it doesn't work, and they say, oh, I already tried that, it didn't work. I tried free reports. Well, they tried a free report, but they tried it in one format in one particular pond. They might try that exact same set of words and use it over in a Google AdWords account and bid on the search term, get healthy fast, and put that up and it says free download is the headline, and then it says lose 10 pounds in 21 days guaranteed, free report, click here. It might convert over there because that's a completely different pond. It's a different environment. It's a different group of people. So in direct response, what we're always trying to do is say, okay, what is the bait that I need to put out there so that it will get the suspects to sort themselves out and the prospects to rise up and raise their hand and say, you know what, I'm interested in that. And then what's the right pond? Where will I go where my audience is hungry, where they're already searching for solutions, so I can put my bait out there and offer it to them. And then to actually turn these people into what we might call hot leads or real prospects, We need to get them to come to our website and ideally either buy something or convert and sign up for our email newsletter. And this is one of the reasons why I like to use a lot of what I call freeline content and move the free line and give away things that are very, very valuable. As an example, let's say you've got that downloadable report, How to Lose 10 Pounds in 21 Days Guaranteed, and you create a PDF and you create a beautiful cover for it, and you give it a retail value of $19.97, and you add all this value to it so that when one of your prospects comes to your website and they see that offer, it says just enter name and email address and I'll email this report to you. Or enter name and email address and it'll take you to the download page right now, and I'll also give you a free subscription to my email newsletter, tips for losing weight. That's how we convert suspects to prospects. And that's how we use direct response philosophy and psychology to generate leads. Now, before we get into the how-to and do an exercise, I want to talk to you about what I think are some of the key reasons why most businesses don't successfully generate leads and why they miss out on 90 or 95% of all the value that they could be getting from their marketing. The first reason is that we humans want instant gratification. Most business owners don't have the patience to test offers and create a free downloadable report, build the website, set up the autoresponders, and to put a couple of more stair steps in place that allow people to raise their hands and say, you know what, I am interested in your product or service, but I'd like to know more about it before I buy. Most business owners, they just want someone to come, pull out their credit card, and buy right now, and that's it. I don't have time for all of this lead generation and this stair-step marketing thing. So I encourage you that if you're listening to this right now and saying, oh, that sounds like it's a little bit complex, I don't know if I really want to do that, you just have to be aware that that's what most business owners who fail think. Okay, I used to be in the same place. I've gone through this myself where I was like, well, can't I just get them to call me up and buy the thing that I'm selling? Just give me the money. I don't want to have to waste all the time. And then you realize that, well, that's not the way people are wired. Your customer, they want more information. They want to learn. They want to make sure that you're credible and trustworthy. They want to build some confidence in you and your product and your story. They want to maybe try it out and test it and kick the tires. And if you can allow them to do that in a structured way, you can increase your response and your conversion dramatically. So don't succumb to the pull of instant gratification where you say, I don't want to build a lead generation system because I don't want to have to go through all that hassle. I just want people to show up and give me their money and buy. The next thing that prevents business owners from making a lead generation systems work is that we don't want to have to do all of the technical work to track, measure, and analyze the data. When we're in direct response, we A/B split test constantly. So if we're running a pay-per-click ad on Google, we're not just running one, we're always split testing. We have different ads running against each other using the Google optimization system. Or if we're running banner ads, we're always rotating multiple banner ads to see which one works, and we're changing the headline and putting a different picture on there and saying click here or click here now or click here to download this report, and we're testing colors and font sizes and all these different elements, because this is how we apply science to increase our yield or our return on investment over time. So don't succumb, again, to the temptation to just do one thing and put it out there and hope that it works and expect it to work the first time. You got to realize that once you get a little bit of traction, you got to take it to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. I just did a call recently with the group here, and there was a gentleman reporting his results, and this is a guy who had spent years marketing his product online. He went and he found, went and did a survey, found some of the needs of his customers, got a little bit more inside of their head, changed his headline, changed a little bit of his offer, and doubled his conversion rate. Now, the only reason why he knew that he doubled his conversion rate was because he was measuring in the first place. I would say 90% of business owners that I've seen who change their marketing or change their advertisements or change their logo or their look or their design or anything, they do it out of personal preference. They go, well, I like this one better, and they don't track what it does to their conversion and to their results. So you need to track, you need to measure, and you need to analyze, and you need to be prepared to do that psychologically. And you must test, you must A/B split test many different variations of the different marketing that you're doing so you find the one that works the best. And the final key issue that I think prevents lead generation success is this basic selfishness that humans have, that we all have. I have it, you have it, we all have it. We just don't like to see the other person get the better end of the deal. We want everything to be either fair or better for us. We're fine if we get 50% or more. 51% or more is fantastic with us as long as we're the one getting it. If the other person is getting 51% and we're getting 49%, we hate that. We just can't stand it. Our gut turns over and we say, that sucks. That's unfair. It's unjust. Well, in marketing, and especially direct response marketing, and especially direct response marketing lead generation, we want to turn that around, and we want the other person to feel like they're getting the better end of the deal. We want the other person to feel like they're getting such a good deal that they would be crazy not to take it. This is one of the reasons why in a lot of our marketing, when you see us doing our marketing, we give away things sometimes that are worth hundreds of dollars, video trainings, sequences of webinars and teleseminars and so forth. And we just give them away because we know that the more we give away, the more leads we're going to generate that ultimately we'll be able to, now we've built a relationship with them because they've been through some of our content. And then when we move on to having a product offering, they're going to be much more likely to take advantage of it. So don't fall victim to the selfishness bias that we all have. Give your stuff away. I'm not saying give everything away, but make sure and give stuff away that's very, very valuable so that when you're making these offers to your prospects, they show up, they take advantage of it, and they trust you and they want to come back for more. Okay, so down below this video, there's a link where you can download an exercise that looks just like this. Go ahead and pause the video right now, download this exercise, print it out, and as soon as you've got it printed, come back and unpause the video and we'll do the exercise together. Great, so let's talk about this exercise, the psychology of online lead generation. When doing internet marketing for information products, you must find ways to get qualified leads to visit your website. In order to be effective at generating leads, you must switch from a broadcast mentality to a magnet mentality. Use this exercise to begin changing your mindset and then to set up your automated lead machine. So first, from broadcast to magnet. What are the words and phrases you'd use if you were trying to get the word out about your product, to broadcast your message? And I actually want you to write down the words that you would use and the phrases that you would say if you were doing branding, if it was going up on billboards, if it was going to be on the side of a truck, if it was going to be below your name on a business card. Okay? Some companies choose the words like quality, service, dependability, expect excellence. I don't know what your words would be, but write down the words that you would use if you were just trying to broadcast your message out to the world. It's important that you do this step because it'll help your mind see the contrast. Now, what are the words and phrases you'd use if you wanted to attract your customer like a magnet to your website or convert your prospect and get them to actually sign up for your newsletter, that kind of thing? What are the different words that you would use then if you wanted to get them to come to you and sign up or convert? Okay, so let's do that now. Make a list of words that you'd use if you were broadcasting your message, and then make a list of words and phrases that you would use if you were trying to attract people and get them to take action, okay, get them to respond and come to your website. Okay, pause the video, write out those two lists of words, and when you're finished, come back and start the video back up for the second half of the exercise. Okay, next, building your lead machine. What action steps will you need to take in order to build a website that naturally attracts highly qualified leads or prospects, builds rapport and interest with them, converts them to subscribers, then converts them to customers? What technology will you need and in what order? Create a visual flowchart of the process for extra credit. So here's where this is a big stumbling block for a lot of folks that try to market information products online. Is they can see it in their mind or they can imagine it, but they don't actually build the process that they want to build. So, for example, let's say that you say, I want to generate leads using Google AdWords. I want to set up a landing page with an opt-in form, and then I want to have a few autoresponders go out And I also want to have a downloadable free report. Well, you need to set up a website. You have to build a website. You need to set up a Google AdWords account. You need to write the autoresponders. You need to go to a company like a GetResponse or an iContact, and you need to sign up for a low-priced email account. You got to do all the steps. So what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to write down the steps, the pieces of technology, the reports you'll need to create, write down what you need to set up, and then for extra credit, take a blank sheet of paper and actually flowchart it out. Draw a box for the first thing that you need to do, and then make a list underneath it of the action steps, and then draw another box of the next thing that you need to do, and then draw a list of the action steps underneath, and then revise your flowchart and be able to see it in front of you. See the lead machine and how it will work, and set it up so that your prospect will find you, they'll click or they'll come through to your website, they'll be able to sign up, draw out the process of their experience, and draw out the steps you need to take to set up the different pieces of technology and the flow to generate and capture leads. And then go to work setting it up. All right, great. Get to work on this exercise, and I will talk to you again soon.